Welcome back to the show. Let's talk about the National Cathedral. It's been characterized by controversy since its announcement. There have been demonstrations, social media campaigns, all resisting this plan by government. Well, already, government has demolished houses of judges located on the proposed site for the construction of the cathedral at Ridge. This project has already been challenged, but the Supreme Court has ruled in favor of government. On Thursday, which is my birthday, by the way, government will be doing the official groundbreaking exercise to make way for that construction. So what is it that you want to know about it? I have here in the studio Reverend Victor Kusi-Boateng, who is Secretary to the Board of Trustees of the National Cathedral. Reverend, you're welcome to the show.
Thank you very much.
It looks like all is set for the construction to begin. We're told that on Thursday, government is going to cut the sort for this construction to begin. First of all, tell us what happens after the, okay, let's start with the day on Thursday. What is going to happen on Thursday?
Thank you very much. Thursday is an interesting day. I think history shall be made because the much awaited National Cathedral that has to be built will have its foundation stone being laid by the President of this Republic, Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo. It's going to be an interesting day where people from the north, the south, every region is going to be well represented for us to have a very good and a perfect platform upon which believers together will witness the groundbreaking of the National Cathedral that for the past 3 years we have been talking about.
You say it's going to, they're going to be representatives from across the country. This is one of the most challenged interventions, if you like, one of the most challenged decisions by government. Who are the representatives? I mean, who is coming in terms of, because you're saying that this is national in nature, in terms of those who are coming. Give us an idea.
I beg to differ if I hear you say it's the most challenged. Because
it's one of the most challenged.
One of the most challenged, yes, because almost every single intervention or any single policy that has been pushed through come with controversies. Even the free SHS didn't come free. It came with controversies. Building of stadiums come with controversies. Flying out footballers come with controversies. Paying national coach comes with controversies. So many a times you go beyond the controversies and look into the benefits of the event, the benefits of the concept, and how it can impact the nation and its people.
I know that was not really my question, and I'll come back so that you answer my question for me. But then when you say that you look at the impact, that has been one of the key the key problems that those who challenge this decision have had. They say that you're spending so much money building a cathedral when there are students or children sitting under trees. Right now, I spoke to my colleague who has done a report on children who are serving so-called witches. And one of the things that, you know, this has a religious angle to it. So one of the things that people have said that if you want to save society, these are some of the things you should look at. You should put that money perhaps in bringing these children out of the servitude they find themselves in. You should put the money, and now we're even talking about coronavirus. We have 2.5 million allocated to deal with that virus. But everybody, health experts have said that we need more. WHO said we need about $400 million more to be able to be prepared for that. So these are several social interventions that people think we're going to put the money to use.
If you speak from that angle, it means that with every challenge the nation gets, it means the nation should be clamped down for a particular thing to be addressed. We still have challenges as a nation, but we are still financing soccer. We still have challenges in this nation, but we are still financing boxing. We still have challenges in this nation, and you and I know that people are being sponsored to Hajj, people are being sponsored to Israel. There are still challenges in the nation, but it is the executive of the nation that prioritizes what and what should be done. And as much as there are challenges that we have, as you said, 3 times the Supreme Court has ruled in favor of the National Cathedral. 3 times the Supreme Court has ruled in favor of the National Cathedral.
Okay.
Which means that it is not just an ordinary concept, it is something that is going to be very impactful. And this is not the only project that is being done, whereas children are learning under trees, that is being done where children are begging on the streets. The nation has a lot of money spending on other things, and yet these same people are working on the street. I think that there should be a policy to address these vices in this society. There should be a very strong policy to address children learning on the trees, but that is not to say without the building of the cathedral, children will not study under trees.
Well, regarding policies, people have said that that's not what we need. We have enough of policies that can take care of these sectors. I mean, for the Children Act, for example, spells out what children ought to go through and what they ought not to go through. So they'll tell you that policy-wise, we don't have a problem. We have everything nicely written on paper. Implementation is always the problem, which boils down to money, personnel to deal with this. But let's not focus on, I think we've moved on from that argument. Now that the Supreme Court has given the go-ahead, so it's just going to go ahead. But representatives was the question that I asked. You said, I want to find out how national in nature, who and who are coming, like you indicated. That gives us that.
We are having almost all 16 regions of the country represented on the day, almost all. I can confidently say that there will be more than 10 regions represented on the day of the breaking of the ground, because this project has gone beyond Accra. It has become a national project. Let's not forget that Christians are between 71 to 75% of the population of Ghana. And this is the only time that you see Catholics and Pentecost and Assemblies of God coming on the same level playing ground to have the consensus to bring peace and to promote the advancement of the nation.
Okay.
So if there is anything that has benefited this nation so much, let's not forget, we have 71 to 75% of Christians represented in Ghana. My sister, as I sit here, looking to how busy my schedule is and the kind of things I do, if the nation spent even $50 or $100 million in building a sports stadium, me, Victor Kusibuati, I don't benefit from it. I don't go to the sports stadiums. It helps sports-loving citizens. Where I also have my comfort is when a national cathedral is built and I have Domoen coming in there to sing. That is where I myself, being a citizen of this nation, will also find comfort.
How does that benefit the greater number of the population? We
have 71 to 75% of the population being Christians. 71 to 75%. And we tend to underestimate the input and the contribution Christianity has given to this nation. Let me just give you one scenario. Christianity employs more than the private sector employs in Ghana. If you look at how many people Pentecost employs from Accra to the Upper West region, in terms of clergy, in terms of administration, janitors, support drivers, Pentecost. Then you go to the Catholic. Then you go to the Assemblies of God. Then you go to the Baptists, to Methodists, to the Presbyterian Church, and to all these individual churches. If you put together the people they employ, the snitch they pay, the taxes they pay, they outnumber the private sector. That notwithstanding, every single school that we know in Ghana that is good was started by a Christian body. Not just that alone, the hospitals. Not just that alone. A government is constructing a 10-kilometer road, goes to wherever they can, get money to construct the road. But then you see the kind of infrastructure churches have put up with no recourse to loans from IMF to the World Bank. And you can imagine the infrastructure of the Christian body alone in Ghana is more than the infrastructure of our government. And so if 71 to 75% of the population have been able to do this much, and they still do, and they are being compensated with a national cathedral, which is not solely being sponsored and financed by the government, I wonder why people should stand up and fight against it.
Okay, let's talk about the groundbreaking ceremony. a lot of people have raised questions about the way we do things here in Ghana. They say, you have a project you want to start, just go ahead and start it. Don't waste money organizing ceremonies upon ceremonies, that monies that you could probably use to just go ahead and finish the project. What are your thoughts?
That is where people get it wrong. This project is different from other projects. This is a project that we need the ceremonies to sensitize people, for the people to help us in contributing to the project. This project is not a project that has $100 million sitting down for us to use into the construction of the cathedral. We have been mandated by His Excellency, the President of this nation, to go around internally and externally to mobilize funds, to influence people into giving. So if such ceremonies don't come through, if we don't sensitize people, if people are not conscientized that this is a project that you need to get yourself involved in, it becomes very difficult to raise the kind of funds that we want to raise. Okay. So the ceremonies to this particular event is very paramount and is going to help us realize our dreams. Okay,
that's for this event, but in general, in principle, you wouldn't support sword cutting, etc., for other projects?
Obviously, if you have monies doing what you want to do, by the grace of God, we've done major and multi-million projects. Nobody knew when I cut the sword and nobody knew when I finished. Okay. But then if you want the incorporation of the people, the support of the people, if you want every ordinary people to understand the concept of what you are doing, then the ceremony itself is a medium of conscientizing them into coming on board and supporting the project.
So on Thursday, which I have said is my birthday, so it's very interesting.
Happy birthday in advance.
Thank you. Very interesting that you're cutting the sword or doing the groundbreaking ceremony on my birthday. I'll show up. But I just want to find out, after we've cut the sword, are we giving ourselves a certain timeline? Like you indicated, it's not like the money is sitting down somewhere. I know that the board of trustees, have generated some money. But do we have any timelines? How much do we have? What are we looking at?
We are still on the fundraising campaign, but we are breaking the grounds to start the construction of the project. We don't have the total amount of monies that we need to build the cathedral, but we are trusting God that through this ceremony and through this medium, people that are watching us will see the need to support this cathedral, because from the groundbreaking, the construction begins. Okay. And we are believing God that in 3 years' time, this cathedral will be built to the glory of God.
In 3 years. And so how much more is needed? How much do we have already?
It's quite technical in that when you know about construction, you don't need to have 100% of your drawings before you start your construction. That is if there are timelines. Okay. We are more than 75 to 80% through with our drawings, so the construction can start. So it is when the drawings are complete that the drawings are taken to the quantity surveyor. For the quantity surveyor to tell you vividly, you are going to need A or B plus or minus this amount to complete this.
Okay, but we had an idea.
But there is an idea that the architects and the structural engineers will come together and give you an estimation of how much it costs.
Which they
As we sit here, they have told us we will need over $100 million. Okay. So that is what we are working towards until we are finished with the actuals on the ground, and then we'll make it public for everybody to know.
So how much more have we made out of the over $100 million?
Oh, we have made a couple of millions. We have made a couple of millions, and we are still on
like 50 million, 70 million,
not made
40?
50, except maybe on your birthday you want to donate a million or two.
On my birthday, I want to go to the school of the deaf, rather.
Good.
So I'll be praying for the board of trustees.
Thank you.
But then, how much exactly have we made here?
We cannot come out, to say exactly how much we have made until our auditors are through with it. Okay. We raise funds in the States. We just finished raising funds in Kumasi. We did one here. So they are not, it's quite an elaborate job.
Wouldn't you say that for transparency, I mean, this is not money that's coming from government, you've made that clear. Sure. But for transparency, for the people who are curious and following this, it will be good that between the time you started raising the money and now, we should have some figures already.
Okay, you see, when you are dealing with people's monies, you've got to be very, very cautious and see to it that every single dollar that you announce is well authenticated.
Okay.
I don't want to come out to say $1 and tomorrow auditors come to say it is $2. It makes me a liar. And I promise you that every single dollar about this project will definitely be put into the public domain for everybody to know.
Okay. Any idea when that will be?
Oh, in the shortest possible time. You know, when
shortest possible time is still vague.
When it's quite vague, I know. But when you see, we didn't have any model with which we were working. Right from the concept to the tendering, there is no national cathedral that has been built in our sub-region that we could take their models to run out.
So we have to create our own model.
Every single thing.
We haven't done that already?
No, we are now building it. And that is the work of the trustees.
Hasn't it taken too long?
It's not taking too long. And to me, we've done a great job and we are getting there.
All right. I wrap up my conversation by asking you, how is this facility going to be used? Anybody, any church can organize a program in there? How is it going to be used?
Obviously, it's a Christian facility. And once you want to do a program there, to be vetted if it falls within our code of, acceptance. Why not? It will be rented out. There are a lot of there are too many things. It's an interesting concept. Okay. And trust you me, it's going to give us more money than all our sports stadiums in Ghana gives to us.
We wait to see that. Your final comment, sir.
My final comment is, let me give you an interesting concept. We are building the Gethsemane garden in there, where every single fruit and vegetable you have in Israel shall be seen there in our garden. Okay. Not just seen there. There is also a restaurant that if you've never tasted living bread, it could be baked for you right there in the restaurant. So this is an interesting concept, and it is something that Ghana needs. So God willing, on Thursday, we wish every one of you comes, and then we lay the foundation to the construction of the National Cathedral to the glory of God, to our nation and to our God.
Right. Thank you very much, Reverend Victor Kusi-Boateng. He's Secretary to the Board of Trustees for the National Cathedral, breaking it down to us. What is going to happen on Thursday? What happens afterwards? It's all about the National Cathedral. The construction begins on Thursday, 5th of March. Thank you very much for coming.
Thank you very much, my sister.
Like I said, I'd love to know what you think. You can get to our WhatsApp, our Facebook platform and drop us a message, or you can tweet at us. And certainly, if you want to send a message on WhatsApp, it's 0540109009. What do you think on what's going to happen on Thursday?